sung its bedtime story flat out from exactly on the outside in between fillies. A simmering red letter runs on against the rail. On the outside is Lake Victoria. Any one of the five in the right there, and down the outside it is Lake Victoria who's claimed them all from Simmering. Exactly on the far side was Red Letter. Last was Bedtime Story as Lake Victoria stretches out her unbeaten record of 3 in the Moyne there for Wayne Lorton and Aidan O'Brien.
And down the centre, Italian Soiree. Out in front, still Nitrogen. Coming fast, Vixen on the outside in the centre. And one more time, the Mark Cassie trio. And then Anna's call an Italian Soiree. Vixen on the outside. Vixen goes to the front with and one more time in the centre. And one more time. And one more time gets it. Wins the Natalba by a long neck. Vixen second, Nitrogen third. In behind them, it was Ready for Battle or Out Wide Italian.
Racing to the final furlong and a half in the KPMG Champions Juvenile Stakes, and one out from the rail. It's Green Impact coming to Prez. Bernard Shaw were trying to bridge the gap in third as Delacroix. It's Green Impact fractional leader from Bernard Shaw and Delacroix on the outside. Green Impact in front from Delacroix as they go close home. Green Impact again confirmed superiority over Delacroix. Third was Bernard Shaw, well clear from Green Triangle.
Right down the outside, here comes William Buick on Al Qudra and Oisin Murphy on New Century, and they're reading up the ground. Dream On in front, being chased by Al Qudra and New Century, and drifting a little bit here is the leader. It's still Dream On coming to the leaders on the outside. New Century, Al Qudra in the centre, and Oisin Murphy will take honours with New Century by a length and a quarter. Al Qudra in the third spot. Dream On wobbled about in the stretch, and First Resort has run fourth from Cairo Caper.
All right, check that out. We had so many awesome winning urine races this past weekend. You just saw a little montage of the 2-year-old action in particular. This is your Future Stars Forecast. I'm Ren Carruthers, and you just saw Oisin Murphy there winning aboard New Century. There he was, and now here he is live with us. Thank you so much. You just got back from Yarmouth. I saw you picked up a couple of wins.
Yeah, thankfully Yarmouth went well today, Ren, and I'm still on cloud 9 after the result of the weekend.
Oh, I can imagine, but my gosh, you've been nonstop. Before you went to Woodbine, you were at Doncaster, then at Woodbine. I believe there was some problems for you and William getting back across the pond. Am I right?
Yeah, unfortunately, our small plane, once we got back to the UK, had a mechanical failure. Thankfully, it happened on the ground. We weren't in the sky, although they tell me it doesn't often happen in the air, but fortunately. But we were delayed and we both missed rides at the Curragh. But fortunately, neither of us missed any successes.
Well, thankfully for that. But yeah, you were riding at the Curragh and then off to Windsor and then today, Yarmouth. I mean, how do you keep yourself from just absolute fatigue and dropping on the bed and sleeping for 5 days straight?
That's an interesting one. I think adrenaline is the key. When you've got nice horses to ride, you just keep thinking about the next one. I was quite looking forward to riding that 2-year-old Kodiak today at Yarmouth. And yesterday at Windsor was just an ordinary day. But apart from that, it was good meeting at Doncaster. And yeah, keep rolling forward. Tomorrow, actually, and I ride a half-brother to time test a Kingman called Cosmic Year. Yeah, so he's actually the favorite is an American bred horse of Ammo Racing. It's quite an expensive purchase, so that could be an interesting race at Sandown. And I'm just always thinking about the next day and what nice horse I might have to ride. And it's obviously a good position to be in, and it won't last forever. So try and keep positive.
Well, it's amazing. I sometimes think to myself, how are a lot of the jockeys, they will travel, they will ride day after day after day. It's almost inhuman. Just the extent that they can push their bodies mentally, physically. You're not just traveling, but you're changing time zones. And that would be the other thing I would say. I mean, when you're on these planes for so long and then you have got to go ride, how do you keep yourself limbered up?
Yeah, fortunately, I was actually only in Canada in the end about 9 hours. So the time zone difference didn't affect me. I suppose the one issue is traveling and doing light weights is quite difficult when the food is being served and you're sat there trying to ignore it. That can be hard. But listen, it's all part of the job, and I'm used to it at this stage.
Well, I would say that it was well worth the trip out to Woodbine. Not only winning the Grade 1 summary, winning your in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf aboard New Century, but I would think it's extra special to you with him being a son of a horse that you had a tremendous relationship with in Kameko.
Yeah,
Kameko,
huge.
sorry.
Yeah, no, it made it all the better.
Yeah.
It really was special. Sheikh Fahd bred the horse. He obviously raced in his colours. I think between Andrew Boulding, his trainer, and Fergus Galvin, they managed to find the race, and it made sense timing wise, and made it all the better that it was a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup. So, look, this horse was probably pointed towards the Breeders' Cup. A long time ago, maybe after he finished second to Al Qudra at Ascot, where I thought I rode him too quietly that day. And his work at home had been, really good, and he's an improving horse. So I hope, and I really do hope he'll go to Del Mar with a chance. I think the track is obviously going to be sharper, and it will suit the American colts that have that early speed, particularly the ones with gate speed. And at Del Mar, your listeners will know that speed can get away from you.
Oh yeah.
So I'll have to ride New Century a little bit differently. I thought there was plenty of speed on Saturday in the summer stakes, and I just rode him with a bit of confidence. And you have a long stretch there at Woodbine to pick up the leaders, but you're not blessed with that at Del Mar. So it'll be, I'm pleased he's had experience going round the bend, obviously. It'll be sharper in Del Mar, and he's had experience travelling. The plan for him is to come back to Andrew Boulding's stable, and he'll be prepared for the Breeders' Cup from there. So I think it's good to get him back in his normal surroundings, and I'll be able to ride and work plenty in between. And hopefully we can get him there in the same condition, if not better, in 6 weeks' time or whatever it is.
Well, again, just going back to Kameko, I had pulled up, just because I know this was a real special horse to you for obvious reasons. I pulled up his website at Tween Hills where he's standing, and what a value when I saw what he's standing for. I'm guessing that's going to get bumped up. This is his first Group 1 winner with his first initial crop. And so I think that's also now going to be a fun point in the history, just with you being that bridge.
Yeah, certainly. I'm very fortunate to have a nomination in Kameko, which was gifted to me kindly by Sheikh Fahd. And look, I'd imagine his fee is going to take a rise. It's very competitive for those first season sires, and as your listeners will realize, if they don't hit the board at a high level immediately, they're not given many opportunities. Fortunately, Kameko's had a brilliant start, and his winners to runners is fantastic. And he's going to have lots of horses. From now on, you'll see many like middle distance horses starting to come out over a mile and stuff in maidens, which is pretty normal for us. So, so hopefully there'll be a few more that can, fly the flag for him. He had a very nice horse be placed in the Acom. He had a nice horse that I was placed on in a Group 3 at Newmarket, and we just really hope now that they can keep performing at a high level for him.
Well, another reason why I'm very excited about him, and I would hope that our viewers would take even further interest in, is the fact that he is a son of our Kitten's Joy. And
yes.
Yeah, Kitten's Joy, his last babies are going through the ring. And so maybe this is a horse who can take up that mantle and have international success by having some of his progeny stay here too.
Yeah, it's great. I think Oscar Performance is doing quite well. And look, he was a wonderful stallion. One of the best horses I rode in my career to date was Roaring Lion. Another son of Kitten's Joy.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's nice seeing the connection. Yeah, and it's really nice seeing the connection. Actually, as models, Kamiko and Roaring Lion, similar. They have a great hip and a fantastic
Mhm.
shoulder, and they have quite a high knee action. But they want fast ground, or they're most comfortable on fast ground. So it suits to travel them to the States. And look, it's early days in Kamiko's stud career, but we're all delighted with what he's done so far.
Well, talking again about New Century and what he may be looking at doing differently there at Del Mar, the summer's a one-turn mile, and so then going the two turns, he looks like he can run all day.
Yeah, he'll have no problem staying. Like on pedigree, Rennie's a half to Passion and Glory, a horse
Yeah.
I've won stakes races on up to a mile and a half. So I'm sure this horse has a chance of staying 10 furlongs as a 3-year-old.
Street Cry Mare, I love it. I actually have the full replay. You're so good at taking us through races. That's one of the things. Before I even show that, I have to say this. One of the reasons I'm such a fan is because you, as talented and elite as you are so humble. So I will pat you on the back. You are elite, and yet you are still a racing fan, and you're so supportive of your colleagues, and you're so multifaceted in that not only are you this amazingly gifted rider, but you're amazing at breaking down a race, what happened, recalling just the different variables that resulted in a given outcome. I believe that. Are you still show jumping at all? Or are you doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
am. Yeah.
you're a fan of the horse. It's not just you're a fan of horse racing, but you're a fan of the horse. And I just love that. I think it comes across. You're somebody who I feel could do anything you wanted to do in this industry. So
You're kind. You're very
yeah.
kind. Thank you.
Well, I just speak the truth, and you have your fans out here. Rocket Man, great to see Oisin having a great season. Absolutely. Bobby, hi everyone. Hi Ren. Hi Bobby. Love Oisin. Excellent jockey. Great race at Woodbine. When you and Ryan were playing bumper cars coming down the stretch. I know. We're going to show that here in a minute. But that is something. I mean, you can obviously talk over the replay when I put it up, but just to nail down that point, do you think people that are just watching the races, maybe they don't have any experience hands-on with a horse, they maybe don't appreciate just how much contact like that can knock a horse off stride, off its breathing rhythm, etc.?
Yeah, certainly. It can really finish your race. The inside horse who ran third got tired and started to roll out, and I think William tried to avoid him and moved Al Qudra slightly into my path, and then the inside horse came out a little bit more and gave William and I an almighty bump. But fortunately, you know. I don't think the inside jockey could do much by stop riding, and it's just one of those things. But actually, I'll make another point. When you get a slight bump, on turf, sometimes it can encourage the horse to switch to a fresh leg. So when they straighten up, they might have switched to the outside lead. But if they're knocked a little bit sideways, as long as it doesn't take the wind out of them, they might switch back to a fresh leg. So they might switch back to the inside lead, which can often kind of get them going a little bit more. So listen,
a blessing in disguise.
yeah, it can be, and it's not something maybe that's often picked up on, you know.
Oh, no, it definitely is all the insight we can get. We will certainly be happy to hear. So I have the replay, and we'll go ahead. I'll share the screen, and you can take us through this. Let's go ahead, and I will hit play. And you were talking about Dream On, actually owned by a friend of mine, DJ Stables. That's my friend John and Len Green, and with Shaheen Savachi aboard. And let's go here from Mark Cassie.
Yeah, so basically I broke just okay, and there was lots of horses in the race that had won over 6 furlongs, so I thought there'd be speed on, and my idea was from my draw in 10 that I would just stay out. It's a straight line down the back, and I could see Al Qudra was in my eye line. I was a little bit keen, and I didn't want to really fight with him, so I was just happy to sit on the outside of Al Qudra's quarters, kind of down the back to the turn. And we're rolling along. He's a little bit numb, fresh. He's had obviously an easy time since he got off the plane, but I didn't want to forfeit ground around the turn. So as we approached the turn, I made sure to get in behind William. And I actually, as the inside horse started to drop away as we watch now, I actually almost took that inside line. I took that slot away from him. So instead of being in a 2 or 3 deep position, I'm almost on the rail around the turn. And as we get halfway down around the turn, I switch out off the inside fence and decide to follow William out because I knew he'd take me into the race. And as we straightened up, I just thought rather than having a knee-jerk reaction, staying in with cover and then switching, I may as well keep that forward momentum going. And listen, everything this horse has done in his life, he's always picked up for a wake-up call, a smack behind the saddle. So there was a bump there, but I knew he would go for a wake-up. And fortunately, he was really strong through the line. And I couldn't pull him up, and he was excellently prepared. In my opinion, it's hard to travel a horse to Canada. It was a long trip there. He couldn't go direct, and it's hard to know how much work to give them when they arrive. And Andrew Boulding's assistant Leanne gave him the perfect amount of work, and as you can see by the way he walks back in, he's a dude.
Oh, yeah. Now, I was listening to the post-win interview with her, and she had mentioned about that work up to the race, about how he just skipped over the surface.
Yeah, he has a real fast ground action. So going to Del Mar would be no problem. It was obviously quite fast at Woodbine the other day. It was baking hot for a leprechaun that's been riding, in autumnal weather in Britain most recently. It was a bit of a climate change.
I'm sure. Oh my gosh. But what a beautiful horse on top of it. And 2 years old. That was one of the things that you always tend to notice when we have our Breeders' Cup World Championships is the horses that are coming up over from Europe tend to have many more races under the girth.
Yeah, if they take it, we are very happy to run them, every 5 or 6 weeks. It might take a race or two for them to break their maiden. And then if we think they're stakes class, we might go listed Group 3. And if they're good enough to win that, then they'll keep stepping up. And there's a good program for them, obviously. I mean, every kind of European breeder's dream is that their 2-year-old makes it to the track at 2 and can win a stakes race at 2, for the future of the breed. So there's quite a bit of pressure on trainers if the horse is capable of keeping them busy.
Well, and it's interesting too, because he's already this was his 5th career start. You've already got this rivalry going on with El Kudra. And so that's a fun story. Do you know if we're going to see him coming over? I know it's different barn, but
yeah, I actually traveled with William and Charlie, and I think they were just going to check how the horse came out of the race and make a decision closer to the time. I think the plan with some of their horses from Saturday they were going to stay in the US. So unlike New Century, who'll be coming back home, but obviously Charlie Appleby's been doing it all season and a bit of last year as well, having horses stabled in America for long periods, and they've done it incredibly successfully.
And I'll give you credit too, because I know the horse ended up finishing 5th, but the margin of defeat was only 3 3/4 lengths rather. I'm talking about Ready to Battle in the Natalma Stakes for Mark Casse. I mean, that horse was 68-1, and you got her in the mix of it. But it was pretty funny. I mean, we often see O'Brien with the trifectas, exactas, Chad Brown, Mark Casse. I mean, this was pretty fun and one more time in the Natalma. Then you had Vixen and Nitrogen. Those two also owned by my friends at TJ Stables. But it was just, it was a really nice weekend there of racing. And you've been to Woodbine before, but what was your take on this trip? overall?
Because the last time I was there was well before COVID, and the EP Taylor was later on in the year when it's not as quite pleasant weather. It was great to see a crowd there. The turf track was in immaculate condition,
Yeah.
and obviously touching on the Natalma, I mean, you can't forget what a training performance by Matt Cassie to get
I
that many
know.
fillies. Get that many fillies to run well, and you alluded to the filly I rode. She was quite tall, and I just wanted to give her a chance early, and she finished off. And I think she has the size and scope that she'll progress. And I didn't even know I was riding her until it was actually, this will be interesting for your listeners.
Yeah.
I was sweating in the sauna at Woodbine, and I got a bit bored of that, and so I arrived there, and I was 119 pounds, and I wanted to get below 118. So I gave the sauna a go, and then there's this hot tub, so I decided I'd fill that up, and I didn't have it too hot. I had it like 38 degrees, so because I wanted to sweat slowly because I had time, and I'm sat in the, let's call it the bath, and my valet comes in. He says, "Oisin, you in the next race?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And he goes, "Yeah, you're marked down to ride Mark Cassie's in the Natalma." And I said, "Okay." So it was a nice spare ride to pick up, and any chances you have in those grade ones, it's good to be part of them.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, the margin of defeat wasn't even that much. And that was a 68-1 shot. And I will also, another DJ shout out to, because John, if John is watching this, I can't leave her out. But in the summer stakes, they did take a chance with one of their other fillies, with Winterberry. And I thought she ran credibly. I mean, she got tired there after the turn, but I thought she ran quite well. I actually named her. So,
oh, brilliant. Okay.
Yes, I have a soft spot for her. But we have more comments here. Victor says, "Hi, everyone." Hi, Victor. Thank you for tuning in. And Bobby, yes, I'm sorry. My bad. I misspoke. My apologies. I meant to say Buick, who was riding Al Kudra, and Oisin Murphy on New Century. Both of those horses are serious race horses. I follow and play a ton of UK races. Well, and that's the other thing. And everybody, if you do have a question for Oisin, please get it in now, because the man has been riding day after day, and he just got back from riding at Yarmouth. I'm sure he wants to go to bed. So I don't want to keep him too long. This isn't going to be one of those like 2-hour shows I do. So we're going to keep it nice and tight for him. But yeah, that's the other thing. Not only about the traveling and the toll it takes physically and mentally, but different jurisdictions have different rules. How do you keep it all straight?
Just think about it. And to be honest, Ren, I was filling out a visa application today, and I had to list all the countries that I've ridden in the last or been in the last 10 years, and it was vast. So it's genuinely, once you get used to kind of the world tour, and bear in mind I'm not riding in any new places now. I've been to all of them. I just focus my mind on it, and take a deep breath, and just make an effort to ride within the rules, and obviously try and get the best result.
Well, because you are such a fan of racing also, as we already discussed, you keep apprised of everything that's going on. That montage I showed earlier, did you see some of those other 2-year-old races? And if so, what did you think? Like, for example, Lake Victoria, 3 for 3 now. That was the 7 furlong Group 1 Montclair Stud Stakes there at the Curragh. I mean, AOB.
Let's chat about her first. I think although those fillies all finished quite close together, I think they were a serious bunch. I think an outstanding bunch. In fact, I finished behind Lake Victoria when Sean Levy won on her at Newmarket, and the saddle slipped up her neck, and she was keen, and she still won. So she shouldn't have been overlooked at the Curragh on Sunday. I think you can forgive Ryan's filly. She just did a little bit too much in front. And I think Aidan mentioned after, he might finish her for the year, whereas you've got a chance of seeing the other fillies again, and maybe some of them at the Breeders' Cup, who knows. I thought the Colts race at Leopardstown that Shane Foley won for Jesse Harrington.
Yeah,
The
Green Impact.
Mark Chan, the Mark Chan horse. He was a big rangy horse. I think he's a horse for next year. Probably not a horse that's going to be suited by a Breeders' Cup. I didn't know what their plans were for him, but he actually dawned on me as like a Virtue Futurity horse at Doncaster, maybe
Oh.
in the
You
at
know
the end of
about winning
October.
that.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I took out of that. Listen, and there was lots of 2-year-old races at Doncaster
Yeah.
as well. So it's a really exciting time of year where kind of all these horses are going to come together, and hopefully the best ones will meet in the best races. So from the Breeders' Cup, the Dewhurst for the Colts and the Middle Park for the Sprinter Colts, and obviously for the fillies, you have the fillies Mile, and I can't remember what the 6 further. I've won it a few times. The Cheveley Park.
Yeah.
Look, all these races are just on the horizon now, and it'll be an interesting year. End to the year with how they shape up, and obviously looking towards Breeders' Cup, because I must say all the connections that I've been riding for recently, if they have a horse good enough to travel to the US for the meeting, they're really itching to go. It has huge world standing, and because the organisers of the Breeders' Cup make it such a special event, people really do yearn to be part of it, you know.
Well, it's certainly one of those occasions that tends to make indelible memories. And just going back to these 2-year-olds that you were talking about, I do want to give some shout outs because my nickname's the Petit Geek. And if I didn't, I would be embarrassed of myself. And I know that you enjoy pedigrees as well. But yeah, Lake Victoria, let's give a shout out to Frankel. I mean, he speaks for himself, though.
Sure.
Mark Cassie with again, and one more time, that is a daughter of Omaha Beach out of Complicated by Blame. I think a lot of people don't realize Blame, the surface flexibility there comes from the fact that he's from the family of Nureyev, Sadler's Wells. People don't remember that because he was a dirt horse, and they blame him for beating Zenyatta. So
yes.
We have you mentioned Green Impact, Wooden Bassett. What a story for him, because he started off very modestly at stud, correct, Oisin?
Yeah, son of Ifraj. He's a decent 2-year-old without being outstanding. He didn't train on at 3 for whatever reason. And he's killing it. And he's going to get better mares. Actually, his best stock will be coming through next year as 2-year-olds and the following year, because he obviously switched locations. He went from France, where he was standing at a modest fee, covering a lot of lesser mares, to Coolmore. So Wooden Bassett's going to be a name people are going to hear about more and more. And actually, I think a few Wooden Bassets from the yearling sales in France were bought by American bloodstock agents. So, let's see where they'll be going. I presume probably Chad Brown and the other masters of the turf. Yeah.
I think I might be wrong on this, but I think we had 4 in our Keelan September sale here go through the ring. And I believe 1 Blue Point, I think. Don't quote me on that, everybody. I've been looking at thousands. I told Oisin before he came on live with us that I've looked through over 3,000 horses, and my eyesight is basically gone at this point. We did talk about New Century already, but it bears repeating. Kamiko out of a Street Crime mare, beautiful pedigree there. But you also, not just appreciating it in this manner, you have been breeding horses yourself. I pulled up this replay because I saw this post, and I was taken aback how many times you can see an active rider listed as a breeder of a horse winning and also especially when they're based over in Europe. And here you're a co-breeder of a horse who won a main special weight at Saratoga. I'm talking about Filoso. So I've got this, and he had some trouble in this race to overcome. So
I bought Kenda in his dam in 2018 in partnership with Hunter Valley Farm, and we were over the moon that this guy was able to get the job done. And we actually sold the Maxfield half sister last week at Keeneland. Yeah,
You
yeah.
did.
So that was
Was
great.
that one of the three? He is knocking it out of the park. Like he had several six-figure babies go through, and I think he might have even had something. I forget what the
Yeah,
highest price one was so far, but Maxfield's knocking it out of the park.
yeah. No, we're delighted. My one made 310 US, so that
Nice.
will, the mayor's done really well for us. Yeah, we're delighted.
So Dylan Davis is riding Filoso here, and you're going to see a little bit of he has a little bit of a steadying situation that has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, often it's hard to to overcome any bit of interference on dirt because it's all about momentum and rhythm. And, I thought Filoso did very well and had a bit of courage actually to be so impressive at the line.
What's it like watching a race as a breeder?
You just hope to God that the horse you invested so much energy in thinking about the mating, and then obviously the guys that did all the hard work at the stud, rearing them, pulling them out and rearing them, can perform on the track. And yeah, it was great. This fella, was so good at the line, and there's lots of chat about his future.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, and I know that. I'm guessing. I'm surprised you went off at 7-1 because I don't know if you pay attention to our to some of our figures out here that get a lot of notoriety in the sports world, sports betting world. But Dave Portnoy, he loves himself some Dylan Davis. He loves Dylan Davis. So I'm surprised
Yeah,
he
I'm
didn't
not
crush it.
surprised.
Yes.
I'm not surprised. I think Dylan had a graded stakes winner for Charlie Appleby on Saturday evening as well. So it's great to see him coming in for good outside spare rides for a European-based trainer.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of these. You get a click, you get confidence, right? And you're just able to keep on rolling. And that does play such a huge. That is a huge component to how one is able to achieve what they want to achieve, right? You set that goal, and when you start to gain confidence in yourself as you're making these different milestones in heading toward that destination, things just tend to get easier, right?
Yeah,
Because
certainly.
that confidence, right?
Yeah. When things are going well, it's easier to make things happen and keep the momentum going. I suppose the hardest part is when you know in your heart and soul you're not riding that well and you want to change it, but you can only do so much.
Well, how do you get yourself out of the funk?
Speak to Frankie Dettori. That's helped me in the past. I had a very quiet month in like 2018 or 19, and my strike rate was really low, much lower than it should have been. And he just inspired me and filled me with confidence. And then I think the following day, actually, I remember I went to Goodwood and I rode 4 winners in a row. So self belief is key, really.
Did you come out and ride at Kentucky Downs? Because I saw Frankie at Kentucky Downs, and he was having himself a meet.
Yeah, he had a great time there. I was actually due to partner Bellum Justin in the Nashville Derby. It was a valuable race.
Yes.
And it clashed with some stakes races here. Fortunately, I won one of those stakes races at Sandown, but it would have been much more beneficial for me financially to be winning on Bellum Justin, but you just can't be in 2 places at once.
No, and he was very nice. When I saw Frankie, I'm friends with Nancy, who's married to Frankie's agent, and
Right.
yeah. So I was walking out with my husband Matt. We had dinner, and we happened to be in the same place. And he took a picture with my daughter. And it's
brilliant.
Oh, it's the cutest thing. She's only 6 years old, so she doesn't understand. But when she's older, she'll understand that you took a picture with Frankie Dettori, and it's awesome. And obviously, Nancy, if you're watching, hello. And Ron Anderson is just an amazing agent. Let's see here. Bobby's saying you did a great job at Gulfstream. Did you like riding there first time, in full time for that meet?
Yeah, I did, Bobby. It was a great experience. I rode for lots of the top trainers there, and listen, you know, it was the perfect way to spend my January, to be honest. Yeah.
Wonderful. And will you be coming out for Keeneland?
I suspect I might have to come out on the 28th of September. Is that the date? Off the top of my head, I know there's something coming up there. I'm actually galloping horses tomorrow that might be aimed there, but let's not jinx it for now. All right.
Oh, no. We won't do we won't do that. But yeah, our fall meet kicks off at Keeneland October 4th. So it runs from the 4th through
Okay.
the 26th, and that first weekend is Fall Stars weekend. So I'm guessing that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Brittany Wagner. Oisin, I'm an avid player of UK races from here in the States, and I enjoy watching you ride. Seems you have the jockey title wrapped up this year, so congratulations. Tough question, but who is the best horse you have ridden in your career?
It's hard to compare them, really, Frankie. I thought Suave Richard on his day in the Japan Cup was exceptional. Roaring Lion is probably the best. You know, he won 4 Group 1s in a row in the best European turf races, and he achieved the highest turf rating in the world that year. So it has to be him. But there's one quite close to my heart, Ben Battle, because
Right.
he came back from injury numerous times, and he was incredibly intelligent, and I just knew him inside out, and we had an incredible partnership together, you know, which spanned Group 1 wins in Dubai and Germany, and I think I won a Group 2 on him at Newmarket. He actually ran to a huge rating twice in it, like 3 or 4 times in a row. So, yeah, he was special. Actually, just to come back every time from his setbacks was extraordinary.
Yeah. I can't imagine. And one of the things I was talking to Matt about before with a lot of you top tier riders is you all have this incredible memory of not just the horse you rode, but you can still play out the race and what happened, the internal fractions, when the hole opened up. It boggles my mind. I can barely remember what I ate yesterday.
Well, what you ate yesterday is unimportant. I wouldn't be able to tell you either. It probably wasn't a lot, yeah, those high pressure races are pretty memorable.
Well, there have been times they can recall, like, even if it was a low level claimer that we had out here, the memory, and there's almost a muscle reflex to it too, with recreating the story. One of my favorites. Have you had any long conversations at all with Angel Cordero?
No, unfortunately, no.
If you ever do, ask him the story about Seattle Slew in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Okay.
That is one of the best races you can ever watch of a horse in defeat. Absolutely. Really? Beyond. I mean, this is a horse that before the race, there was stuff going on. He got out there and he had a battle. There's Exceller. And I didn't know, but apparently in the beginning of the race, Angel had lost the stirrup. And that is just one of those races. It came down like this. And he still is, when he recounts the story, he will tell you it's one of those races that he just can't forget if he had it to do over again, that type. So yeah, but I just am so thankful that you've given the time. I mean, we're already about 40 minutes in. I want you to be able to get some rest. You're riding tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'm galloping horses for Andrew, and then I'm going to Kempton to gallop for other trainers, and then I've got 6 or 7 at Sandown. Yeah, it'll be an interesting day. I actually ride a half brother to time test.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
At Kingman. Yeah, so I'm trying to think what he's out of. Yeah, so he's Kingman Passage of Time, and look, apart from him, it's probably a pretty ordinary but competitive card. So hopefully I can keep the momentum going.
Well, I hope you can as well. And before we go, I would be remiss. I do want to give you some props because one of the most scintillating duels we've seen to the wire. Well, actually, it wasn't even a duel. It was you came flying up, actually. But like one of those moments where you're on the edge of the seat of who actually got there first, rather, was in the distaff with Dunbar Road and Marsh Lorraine. You just nailed her there on the wire in the 2021 Breeders' Cup distaff. And I'll admit, when I first saw it, I thought Marsh Lorraine had it until they put the photo up. That was so close. I thought Dunbar Road had it, rather. But Marsh Lorraine just nipped her right there. And isn't that interesting? Like, real quick, can you just speak to how difficult it is to win at the World Championships? Again, you are an elite rider, and the win you have is on a dirt horse.
Yeah, no, it was very special. It was probably it was one of the greatest moments in my life. You know, she was an outsider for Mr. Yahagi, very good Japanese trainer, but there was no pressure on me. And I wasn't sure if I'd won the photo either, and neither was Jose. So look, it was great to get on the Breeders' Cup score sheet. I was gutted not to win on Mauge or Porto Fortuna last year. We'll be back this year with a few bullets to fire to hopefully add to the tally.
No, absolutely. But that is one of the things, everybody, I hope you can appreciate the World Championships. And that from a bettor's perspective, they're so great because you do have all the best horses from all around the world duking it out for these titles, and you can have some of these great rides like you put in, but it's a matter of when that wire comes, who happens to be there when it happens. Because again, we've seen some of the best horses from all around the world come compete, and it's just that difficult, right?
Well, there can only be one winner, and
well, unless it's a dead heat.
Yeah, but they're rare, you know, and everyone targets the Breeders' Cup. So, roll on, Delmar.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that is the last question I'm going to have for you before I let you go is this, well, twofold. If there's anything, because we do have a lot of new people who are coming into racing who might not have had the experience of getting to hear you before, what would you just want them to know before they leave this broadcast? And how are you going to be getting into Del Mar at any point that you already have set so you can maybe acclimate, or are you just like going to come in hot?
So I'll answer your second question first. I'll be coming in hot. I'll probably just get to Del Mar a day or two before racing begins. You know, I know the track. And the other question is, I suppose for all your listeners and viewers, if you haven't had the opportunity to, you know, touch a horse and actually experience their beauty firsthand and the intelligence of some of them, I mean, I think they're like people. You get not incredibly bright people, and then some extraordinary bright people, and horses are the same. And once you know, can, I suppose, understand that and appreciate it, it's huge. It really draws you in, and then you become, I don't know, a horse lover for life.
Well, you are certainly one of those. Again, Oisin, I cannot thank you enough. You are just somebody who I root for. I am such a fan because you're such a fan of the horses, and I wish you all the best going forward. Get some rest.
I shall. Thank you very much for having me on, Ren. And
it's an honor.
Have a super evening.
Oh, thank you so much. You too. Rest up, everybody. This has been your Future Stars forecast, rather, on a 2-year-old Tuesday. Thanks for watching. I'll check you back here next week.